Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. God bless you, Pastor David Trainum, coming into your heart, your life, your car, your home, wherever you're listening to this broadcast at. Thanking you once again for tuning in. Now, in a couple of seconds, we're going to be talking about the keys to life, which we started in the probably about 6 months ago now, maybe between 4 and 6 months. And today we're going to be looking at learning from the past. A lot of times we look at our past as always being negative to a certain degree. We look and we see more things that we could have done, should have done, maybe would have done if things were lined up properly. But understand this, nothing takes God by surprise. And so we're going to be talking about these things. If you've got a few seconds as you're listening, if there's something that's said that blesses your life, I encourage you to give me a like, a love, if you would. Subscribe to the page if you haven't done that, and also make certain that if you choose to, please leave a comment. Most of them have been very, very encouraging to me, and sometimes it doesn't take a big, long paragraph. It's just a few words sometimes, just letting me know that you're there and also letting me know that you have been blessed. And so let's pick up today. Last time, if you remember, we were talking about, becoming who you were supposed to be. Who did God create you to be? Walking in your own skin. Now, in doing so, we got to understand that we all have a past, unless you're just born. And to experience the joy of your vision fulfilled, you need both the ability, and we talked about the authority of God. And I said that the word authority was made up of two specific words. So I'm going to kind of pick up right there. You need both the ability, which was the might or the power of God to accomplish a task, and you need the right, or you need legal authority to see your vision or see your life through the way that God intends. And this is why you must be you. Now, your assignment is not to be like somebody else. Like I said, picking up. You must allow God to develop his character in you while giving you his plan on how to get things done. You must be willing to change behaviors and change habits that keep you living on a lower level. And this often entails learning how you are supposed to act and live. I had to learn how to treat people nicely. And because of my upbringing, first of all, I had parents that encouraged us to do that. When I say us, me and my other six siblings, I had parents that encouraged us to treat everybody nice. And what I did was I got a job, if you will, after school. And it was in the Southern Fruit Garden on the corner of Bassett and Pearl Street here in Albany. And I worked there for 4 years. And my character, little did I know, was being forged even through that job, because one of the things that we had to do was treat customers nice. One of the things I learned at an early age is that customers are always right. And so I had to learn how I was supposed to live and act. I had to learn how to treat people nicely. I had to learn how to not react, this is important, to negative comments in potentially harmful confrontations. You see, I had to learn to not retaliate when negative things are being said by people who are ignorant of my motives or purpose in life. And this is still true today. And the more comfortable I became with me, the more productive my life became. I've had several positions of influence. As a manager in corporate America, I've been the chaplain at the local child and parent organization called Parsons. It's now Northern Rivers. I was pastor, as you know, with my wife at New Horizons for over 30 years. And now we're going on almost 34 years because of our virtual ministry. Now, in each of these positions, I walked in the authority that I had. But I also had to learn to operate, please hear this, within the parameters of conferred authority by the people that I was called to serve and the people who were my superiors. I had to learn to operate within the structure that was set up by the Athletes in Action's chaplain over the New York Giants when I served the team for about 15 years in the early 2000s, as local chaplain here in Albany. I had to learn to operate within the parameters that were set up by the organizations that elected me as a board member. And I probably served on maybe 8 or 10, maybe even more than that now, different organizational boards. I had to learn how my employer wanted me to manage their assets, and I had to operate within the policies that they outlined. Now, except when it references God, who we know is the creator of the universe, there is nothing as ultimate authority where someone can do whatever they want to do. You see, there's always someone you have to answer to. And the only one that doesn't have to answer to anybody is God. He is the ultimate authority. However, today's society produces people who think that they have authority that does not need to be submitted to a set of rules, laws, or even God. And what we have to be as believers in Christ, we have to be mindful and refrain from allowing that mindset that I am my own person and I can do anything that I want to do. And I understand there's a limit to that. There's things that you have to do, but you still have to operate when, when you have something on your heart, you have to operate within the structure that's set up. You see, you operate best when you're operating within the system that's in place. And what many people do not do is they do not take the time to learn the system. And if the system needs adjusting, you have to position your life to be one of those change agents. We have to go beyond screaming, shouting, and marching. And I believe, and please make sure you hear this, I believe that some of those things are necessary. Although they're needed, very seldom do they produce lasting change. I believe that we saw this a lot, in the, I think it was 2020, 2021, the spring and the early summer season there. You got to understand those marches, they got the attention of the nation. All of the rallies got the attention of the nation. The screaming and the shouting got the attention of the nation. But my thing is this, when we really look at what's going on, there hasn't been real lasting change. And what we have to do is question why. How come there were no lasting change? It's almost like, we were infants and they gave us pacifiers so that we would stop crying. And a lot of us bought it hook, line, and sinker. But you see, it's not that the systems we have in place are perfect, but to excel in life, I believe, and this is my personal belief, and you can disagree if you want, and that's okay. Because I've said so many times, we need it all. We need all of those things. The only thing that I say we don't need is the destruction of property. Now, it's not that the systems we have in place, but to excel, we must operate within parameters that are set up. And once you've mastered the parameters, the level, or I should say, the very things that you are trying to change, your level of experience gives you authority to change the system from inside out. And to make the process, the policies, and the laws better for all people, you have to be on the inside. And this is a part of life that is, I believe, often missed by some social activists. They want to change a system that they have learned is wrong and is based on prejudicial and biased opinions. Yet, they do not gain the experience of knowing that the system is wrong because they underwent the challenges, setbacks and bad breaks and disappointments of pressing through the opposition that was set up against them. And having to press through, some of them became even more bitter. They were inspired by hatred and greed, just as people who are fighting the system by adhering to white supremacy dogma are doing. And if some of them understood what was behind all of the rhetoric, they would not follow that pathway. Now, it's at the point of your experience where you can make the greatest change for everyone. And it's here that you push through the personal, social, and corporate opposition. You press through the racism and the practices of those who are ignorant, and you press on to the goal that you set for yourself and the things that you actually want to change. You see, it's very, very important for you to understand that you are going to be challenged because everyone goes through challenges. And likewise, everyone goes through disappointments on the road there. Also, everyone has to go through a period of time which requires you to have greater patience so that you can see what you desire through to completion. You see, if you live without purpose, the tendency is to allow the challenge and the disappointment to make you angry and negative. It's here that you stop trying to make your life better and you settle where so many others have chosen to park their lives at a place of non-production. And because oftentimes we don't have a purpose for our own lives, when somebody says something that resonates with our own minds, we say, let's jump on that bandwagon, and we follow it through only to find that, when all the dust settles, we revert back into our former lifestyles and we allow them to be on their own. You see, when you come to grips with yourself, and you know that you are more than a body brought into the earth by the will of your parents, you begin to live from a perspective that's consistent with purpose. And now you can enjoy life even when the challenges threaten your peace. You understand that opposition to you is not opposition against you. It is opposing your purpose. And it's opposing the God that gave you the mandate that you are accomplishing. Therefore, my friend, as I end, you cannot be deterred by the delays of life. Delays become your opportunity for relaxation, vacation, and refocusing. It's an opportunity to enjoy your spouse and your family and to enjoy the world that God placed you in. See, the Bible is very, very clear that you're in the world, but not of the world. And therefore, God creating the world and everything in it allows you to enjoy his creation without becoming tainted by the philosophies and the immorality that is openly on display and have become law within a lawless society. A lot of times we would think that the United States of America, we are not lawless. We got all kinds of laws. You see, understand that the laws that I'm talking about are the laws of God. And when we compare the laws that the United States of America has set up, most of us would agree that there are things within the Constitution and the laws that we have created that are not right. Not right based on what? I'm supposed to have my own rights. I'm not talking about those things, and I'm not going to argue with it. But I'm telling you, if you are a believer, you must always allow the law of God to supersede the laws of men. You must be you if you're going to have the greatest impact. You must understand your authority as being might and right, and also having power and permission from God. Then you can walk in that authority every day until your days on this earth are complete. My friend, be you, but let the you that you become be in accordance with God's plan for living. You see, we can learn from the past. We can learn from the things that we've seen over the last few years specifically. We can go back to the 60s. We can even go back to the 40s and the 30s and talk about race. We can learn from those things. But in order to change them, we've got to be at the table. And so, my friend, with those things said, we're going to stop here. And next week, we're going to begin looking at something that many people do not want to talk about, which is a system of racism. A system of racism. Now, I'm not going to go deep. You can probably go online and Google, racism and systemic racism, and you can find all kinds of definitions, examples, and things that we as African Americans, the people who are of other ethnic groups, have all gone through, and we can find that we share a lot of similarities. But the thing is, here in the United States of America, there is a system in place that we must not allow to put the fire out that we have. So we're going to talk about that next week. And so with that said, I'm going to stop here and going to say, I love you, praying for you, and I hope you have a great and godly week. God bless you.